Well, I have a news flash for you. You're too timid to call it, but Trump won, and here's why. 206 is the Romney Reds from last time. He's won all of them, including...
You're right.
All right. Another 47 is the big enchiladas, Florida and Ohio, 253. The 2nd District of Maine, I'm pretty sure he'll win, 254. 10 votes for Wisconsin, 264. 6 votes called for Iowa. My math, I think, adds to 270. That's the Thunderbolt. That is the Brexit on steroids.
Okay, fine. Lou was writing it all down, and I'm looking at it.
Let me put it this way. David Stockman just took us to school on the...
I think you're right. I think you're right. He took us to the woodshed.
A full 3 hours before it was officially called, former Reagan budget director David Stockman did it for you. He called the election for Donald Trump. And that doesn't mean he thinks, though, that Donald Trump will be good for the markets or the economy. In fact, buzzkill. He predicts the nation is headed toward the economic abyss, and quickly. David Stockman joins us now for a Fox Business exclusive. I'm glad you got it right on Fox Business on Tuesday night. I hope you don't get this one right, but...
Well, I had 2 points that night. One, I was a little bit early calling it, but second, I said the national nightmare starts Wednesday morning.
Why? What are you talking about?
The nightmare is not Trump. Trump was an instrument of great good because he got the voters of America to fire the Washington, Wall Street ruling elites and establishment. The problem is there's nothing to replace it. Trump doesn't have a program. He doesn't have a majority. Washington is going to immediately, I believe, fall into acrimony, paralysis, confrontation for a reason that no one's mentioning today with all the excitement about stimulus.
Well, by all means, mention it right
here. The reason is the debt ceiling is going to expire early in March. It's like a giant stink bomb that the outgoing president and Boehner left on the doorstep last March, and to get the Congress to vote a $20 trillion debt ceiling is going to be hellaciously difficult. It will dominate the first 100 days. They will not do anything.
Okay, but wait, what do you mean he doesn't have a plan? Look, he has a plan that most Republicans like, and that is corporate tax reform and individual tax cuts for the individual out there. Does that pay for itself like everybody?
Absolutely not. I mean, this is the point that we learned in the 1980s. This is why the Reagan deficits explode. I am all for tax reduction. I would get rid of the corporate tax, not just cut it. But you have to offset it, accompany it with huge spending cuts, and he's basically said Social Security not touching, Medicare not touching, defense we're raising, more for the veterans, a big infrastructure program. It would be a fiscal nightmare if we even attempted half of what he's talking about.
Okay, so
it won't happen.
Let's get to solutions, though, then. Yeah. And by the way, I'm holding, I love this. I got the draft. I didn't even get the fancy hardback.
Okay.
He cheaped out and gave me the draft. But listen, that's how budget directors should be, is frugal. You're out with 10 great deals for the Donald in this book.
Right.
Let's start with the #1 deal Donald Trump you feel should get done.
Well, the #1 deal is a jobs deal, but I think he can't get it unless we radically rethink our tax system. We need to eliminate entirely the payroll tax. That's what's killing jobs in this country. We got the highest cost labor in the world, and we lay on top of it 15% employer-employee in taxes. And on the margin, jobs drift abroad. On the margin, workers take home paychecks that are shrinking. So we need to basically replace the payroll tax entirely with a consumption tax, tax labor less, tax consumption more.
That's like a VAT tax, you're saying?
Yeah, we need to do something. We're not going to solve this problem with an income tax cut.
All right. I do want to get to a chapter deep in the book that I found fascinating for our investment audience who has a portfolio. They have 529s and 401ks. They like stocks. Chapter 19. The coming crash of Tesla and the FANGs.
Right.
Right now, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, or Alphabet, the parent of Google. Right now, those stocks are slightly lower. You know, Amazon's had multiple all-time highs hit this year, but why do you say that's a crash that's coming?
Because they're just the leading edge of a stock market. It is massively, even hideously overvalued. Today, I mean, what we have today going on is a sucker's rally like never before. There's going to be no fiscal stimulus for the reasons that I mentioned. The market is trading at 25 times S&P earnings. If you get to the FANGs, it's 200 times, 400 times. It's the year 2000 dot-com bubble all over again. And once they realize that the Fed is out of dry powder, that it's now going to be under great peril because Trump at least understands the Fed is a menace, and once they understand there's no fiscal stimulus coming, no handoff of the baton to fiscal policy or infrastructure, we're going to be out of business.
David Stockman, thank you. And can I please have a real one? Because
yeah,
look what I got. I got the one that says draft on every page. Thank you so much.
Great.
Former Ronald Reagan budget director David Stockman. Trumped a nation on the brink of ruin and how to get it back. It's in bookstores and Amazon right now, but I still got the junkie draft.